Good afternoon, friends. I am Bakar. Happen to be since most of you are Chinese educated and speak Chinese Mandarin, I sorry to tell you today I will be speaking in English. My translation of my speech is written in the book, but I want to speak offhand and tell you what I feel about Hock Siew to me. He is a very close friend of mine, and we share the clinics for 30 years. I had pleasant memories of him working with me in the clinic, and he has a very good background clinically. He was trained in orthopedics with Professor Pillay, Dr. Raina Sayagam in orthopedics under the tutelage of Professor Lamsted. And he make use of his knowledge of orthopedics in the clinic, especially in the reduction of dislocation and arthritis. And then there will be a long queue for him, for waiting to see him regarding these joint pains in the morning while he was there. And he treat them well, treat them with respect and soft spoken, and he had close empathy with the patient. The patients love him. And with his passing away, the clinic not only miss him, the patients too will miss him. And regarding his political career, I leave to those who are in the know to speak about him. I leave that out. I had pleasant memories of him, and I treasured it throughout the rest of my life. You know his history, his life history well. No need for me to repeat all the things. But from my experience, I found he was a quiet man. He doesn't talk much. I can say he is a well-reserved man and seldom open his mouth unnecessarily. And at the recent birthday, when we celebrated his birthday on his 75th birthday, we had a gathering of friends to cheer him up, to wish our congratulations to him for achieving 75 years. And then at that gathering, I told in front of all the people there, which was organized by Tanjing Kui at the Bukit Merah Country Club, I told him that he was a freedom fighter, comparable to Che Guevara in South America and Mandela in Africa. But those fighters, freedom fighters, one who gave his life was Che Guevara, together with the Havana Prime Minister. And in South Africa, Mandela, who was in prison for only 13 years, suffered a lot. And in Singapore, Dr. Lee was incarcerated for 20 years. I told him, he was then 75 years old, but he breathed the air, the sweet air of freedom for only 55 years old. I asked him, what happened in the 20 years that gone by while he was incarcerated in a prison? That's what he showed. He was showed utter silence, overwhelmed, silent, couldn't answer. And Beatrice, who was at the side, chipped in to fill the gap. And he had free food, free lodging. Just imagine 20 years incarcerated in prison. How would one feel if one did not have the willpower, the determination to carry out the struggle? He was that sort of person. I salute him and salute to all of you who lost your freedom fighting for the anti-colonialism struggle. And I came to know while he was in school, while I was in school in Raffles Institution. In the senior Cambridge class, one day he happened to come along with Tan Seng Wat, selling the journal, the magazine, Cauldron. It was organized by, it was printed by the Medical Debating Society. And in it, I also found writings of Jamit Singh. You know Jamit Singh? He was one of the writers, because at that time, the first year, the student union had collected the writings of various people to include in the journals. In the journals, I read about the anti-colonial struggle. That gave me the fervor. That gave me the fervor to take part in the anti-colonial struggle. One day while I was working in Tan Tock Seng, several years later when I graduated in 1962, just before the mass arrest of the 2nd February 1962, two good friends, Malays, they came into the doctor's recess room and they pulled me to Balestero to a coffee shop over nasi padang. They asked me whether I was interested to join in the opposition party, that is Parti Rakyat, not Barisan, Parti Rakyat. I said I would consider, and finally I did join. I'm still a Parti Rakyat man, even though the party is not functioning now. Another irony of his is that he drove a Mercedes-Benz with the nameplate SCJ. The CCJ, I jokingly told him it meant Singapore Chief Justice. What irony was it? I told him, you are the victim of injustice, and yet you drove a car with a nameplate CGM. He took it in his silence also. And later, the rest of the story, you know, to come to know what happened on the May 2nd. Many of you were waken up in the morning with barking dogs at the door, with the Gurkhas soldiers and an armed policeman. They were at the door taking you to prison. And most of you stayed in the prison without freedom for many years. And at that time, Hock Siew was the longest stay here in the prison. So again, I wish my condolences, my Mrs. condolences to Beatrice, his sons, the brother-in-law. May Hock Siew rest in peace. Bye-bye. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much for listening to our speech.